Welcome and thank you for joining. Today, we will be discussing Continia solutions and to better understand their functionalities and how they can help the processes in our financial operations, basically. The main speaker for today is Inga, who will be walking us through also the most of different modules and also explaining the different functionalities according to these particular modules. Inga is our solutions partner manager, and I hand over to you, Inga, so that you can continue
Yes.
from your end. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucilla. It's a pleasure to be here. And let me start sharing my slides first, and then the expectation is that we move on to see a little bit of actual demo itself. Okay. Uh, can everyone see the slides already?
Yes, we can.
So as you might notice, I start off the presentation by having a question there. So how often can your finance team leave the office on time? I asked this question and put it as a core of the presentation because just like I mentioned, it is very untypical for someone to look for solutions to buy software unless there is really a burden at their end. And why finance team? We in the company, in the Continia software, I think I didn't click the right button. We at Continia are focused on helping finance people. Yes, there are solutions that are also aimed at other groups of people, like users who are submitting receipts or the ones who are preparing some reports, but mainly it is the finance people, the people who are working with documents, with processes, who have very clear the deadlines to submit the reports that we are focusing helping out. The vision of the company is to reduce the manual work required to fulfill by these people. As yes, it's very often that a certain day of the month comes and they cannot leave their work on time, as there are certain list of tasks that they haven't proceeded yet. So we want to remove that. We want to eliminate everything what can be eliminated with the help of proper solutions. So what are these areas that we are looking at? Today, Continia has more solutions, but today I have chosen the most relevant for our market, as not all the solutions are supported in all the countries of Europe. So today, we are going to look at incoming documents. What are the most challenging areas there? Out of what we see, it's receiving invoices or other documents, credit memos, prepayments, and then capturing the data and entering this to Business Central. We see that there is still a huge number of companies who use manual work to do that. And life can definitely be easier than this. So we are going to talk about this and look at what solutions do we have in this area. Then a complementary area. So if we're talking about invoices, we also have a bunch of documents that come not in a form of the invoice, or they do come in a form of invoice, but they come in a different form. So in one ways, it's our vendors who send the invoice, but in other ways, very often it is our colleagues, employees who are either traveling or using company credit cards to submit receipts and submit invoices. Again, looking from the finance perspective, the challenges that we see our customers sharing is that it's so frustrating in the end of the month to chase those people and ask to submit missing receipts. It is frustrating also for the ones who are traveling or spending money and need to get reimbursement to know what is the status and collect those receipts along the month. So we are going to check how Continia can help in this area. A very new topic, and we see huge demand by customers today, is related to ESG reporting. The topic itself is not only really new on the market, but it's also quite confusing. Customers, companies do not know, so how do I do that? What is the best way to do that? Do I need to have some environmental engineering skills to report my carbon emissions? Again, Continia does have a solution to help you if this is an area your finance team or some responsible people are working there. And lastly, just to complete the full loop, it is outgoing documents. Again, this is this is mostly the area. So, okay, so now I produced a number of documents, IDATs, remittance advices, reminders, invoices, and now I need to distribute to my customers. How do I do that in a really effective way, in a personalized way, so that I can be sure that the document reached my audience? So these are the primary areas that we are going to dive in today. And I hope that if some bells did ring at your side, thinking, oh, this is the area that I would like to learn more, please go ahead and share what is it that or how you do processes today. And if you would like to learn how can it be solved, if can be solved with Continia solutions. And I will start off with the document capture. By far, this is the solution star at Continia, and I would say that it's the most known brand in the world in terms of capturing documents. What is the process and how does it work? I have I will present you with a very basic scheme that you will notice that nothing will change at your end in terms of implementing document capture. Only you can be much more effective. And to prove this, before I go to the graph, I also have some customer stories to support the claim. So we have one customer who has many companies. He says it's impressive how you can send an email and document capture will know instantly which department, which location, which company to assign into. So no more manual work is needed for people to assign and resend as well as fulfill the data. They say this was a game changer for them. We also have Polaroid, who was at the time that they implemented the document capture, they were growing enormously. And what they're saying, it was really impressive how they could complete the same work, process the same or growing amount of invoices with the same number of finance people. So these are just couple of stories, and we have more than 11,000 companies using solution across the world. So it's a really worldwide and recognized brand that I hope you will also find a value in. So how does that work? So imagine you got an invoice today. And just picture the situation. What do you do with it? Do you have a separate person who would just take the invoice, whether it's a paper one or I don't know, is a scanned one, comes in a form of PDF, whatever. What do you do with it? Do you manually enter the data? And what's next? Do you send it for someone to approve? Um, what if there are some comments? And then once the audit comes, let's say in 5 years, how is it easy to find this invoice? The idea of document capture is that yes, everything of this can be automated depending on your liking. It can be automated from 0% to 100%. And here's the process that we're taking. So imagine the same invoice does come at your site again. So what are the ways for the invoice to come? What we see lately, it is electronic invoice that comes, let's say, in form of PDF. But it also can be a paper one. In this case, we would connect with a scanner and the process will be the same. But yes, the first step, invoice comes and is sent to the particular specifically assigned email address. Once it's there, document capture will capture the invoice, will check for the vendor, will recognize the fields, and once you have, so for the first time when you receive an invoice for this from the particular vendor, maybe you will need to go to review and revisit. Okay, did document capture did a good job? Did it capture all the fields correctly? Or do I want to train it for the next time to remember how to do the job? But basically, what we see, 90% of the work is done correctly in the first case an invoice arrives already. Then once you say, okay, this is confirmed, the invoice is correct, it is captured, the invoice would be sent to responsible persons. Again, the mechanism, the workflow that Continia has designed is really intense and advanced. We have customers implementing document capture purely for this intense, comprehensive workflow alone. We will discuss more once we get to the demo, but basically you can decide whether you want the workload to be based on the amount. So let's say up to 1,000 euros, one manager approves. If it goes from 1,000 to 10,000, the workload is set up to go to the upper level management. It can also be depending on the vendor. The invoice from vendor X goes to marketing people to approve, and then the invoice from some construction company will go to our project management to approve. So, and lastly, dimensions. Depending on the dimensions, again, you have a different workflow. So it's really intense process for you to have a look. Lastly, once all the representatives, all the responsible people confirm, yes, the invoice is there, it is correct, it lands on the table on the finance. All of this can be automated. It can be posted automatically. But let's say for the sake of presentation, we will check it in a manual way. So finance people get the final result. They can review who approved, when approved, so they will have the statuses and comments at their hands, and then they can release it for payments. Lastly, we have a very intense search mechanism behind. So everything what became scanned or captured, it becomes searchable. So let's say in 5 years, the audit is there. All you remember is that you bought a Dell computer and you need to find an invoice. You enter Dell, and the solution will spit out all the invoices that has the name Dell in there. With this, let me now start sharing the actual demo. Okay. Let me know if now you see my screen with the demo there. Lucille, is
Yes, you
everything
can.
fine?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So how does document capture work? Document capture, just like all the other solutions of Continia, they are built inside Business Central. So if you are a customer working with Business Central, the learning curve will be really quite minimum. If you know Business Central, you will know how to use Continia. It is built inside. We assure so the same look and feel, the same tabs, the same fields, and then every time Microsoft releases a new version, it will be updated instantly, meaning we do not require any integration. Continia will be there. No risk for you as a customer to start using it. So you will see a new area called document capture in your Business Central. You open up Business Central. At the moment, I am opening Business Central as Esther, Finance Controller, and I can instantly check, okay, what documents have arrived, new documents that need my attention, Are there any of those that need my approval? Are there new credit memos there? And then purchase contracts. The purchase contracts is a bit different area. It's for the repetitive invoices that can go without any approval. We will not focus too much on this. I would just like to show the essence of the solution in the limited time that we have. Ah, nice. And now I'm asked to refresh uh, the solution, my demo machine. Sometimes it does happen as I tried to test the solution so that everything is working for the webinar. So I am Esther, and I see that there are 12 documents that require my attention. I go to those documents, and I would like, this is a good point to know. So once you open up Business Central and Document Capture, this is the view that you are going to see in majority of cases. So on your left, right, you will see the documents that require your attention. First up consultants, not publishers, wide world importers, all the list, all the 12 documents that you have just seen. Then on the right, you can see the invoice itself. And you can zoom in, zoom out. You can check how it looks like, if everything is correct, and so on. So you can work with it and you can have the invoice right there. In the middle area, this is where we are at. This is the template. The ones who have heard of the name Continia and document capture might also heard the template. So what does the template means? It means that the first time someone sends you an invoice, I don't know, agricultural company, for example, document capture will capture those in this invoice and will prepare a template of all the fields it recognized. So let's say if I take first step consultants, here I see all the information that was captured from the invoice immediately. How do I check if this is the correct information? As for the first time, just I mentioned, yes, it's the first time the template is created. So I do want to review if the information is correct. Later on, the next time the invoice comes, the solution will know already. But for the first times, of course, I want to check. So the vendor. How is the vendor picked up? In most of the cases, we search for VAT. So the invoice comes, document capture checks for VAT, then it checks your Business Central list of vendors. If it finds the exact same VAT number, it's considered to be a match, and the invoice is matched this vendor. Let's imagine the VAT number is not possible or it's not there. Then document capture will check for all the relevant information that it may find. It may be address, name of the company, so different categories, different fields. Uh, if it's a new vendor, not a problem at all, but of course someone needs to create the vendor and then in Business Central, and then from then on you will have that. Then invoice number. The checking again is it's very easy. I click on the invoice number and it points out to me to the exact place on the picture where does the number come from. The same goes for date, invoice date, invoice due date. There is we do not have too much time today, but the point that I would like to have you in mind is that there is a huge validation process behind the screens. Let's say even if we take here due date, the solution is not, or the document capture is not only capturing the date, the correct date from the invoice, but will also be checking if the payment date is in alignment with the payment days that you have in your Business Central. If it's not, you will get a comment saying, please check, looks like something is a mismatch in the payment terms. And then you can decide, as a finance manager, you can decide and overrule the system. The responsible person Let's say you don't like it. The document capture found the responsible person, Robin, and has initials RB. Let's say you don't like it or find it incorrect and want the system next time to be smarter and have the way you like. How do you do that? You click, you right click with the mouse, select the area that you want the solution to capture, and that's it. From now on, no need to save anything. Document capture next time will remember. Order number, currency code. In this case, we don't have a purchase order number. Currency code is default, therefore you don't see it. Then the amount without VAT, VAT amount, and the totals. So uh, very generic information that you can expect to be there in the Business Central and on the invoice. You also might check that account number is not here. And if I can demonstrate it for the sake of value, if I tried to register the invoice now, document capture will instantly shoot out the error for me saying, please check the comment section. Why is that? The comment would say you must specify account number. Of course, this is GL account and document capture doesn't know where to put it. In this case, I would add office supplies 31010. Document capture asks, do you want this to remember for the next time you get similar goods? I say, yes, please. I select it, and that's it. We are ready to go. The invoice is prepared, and it can be sent for approval. So I can register it, and I can send it for approval. Now, for the approval case, no request. Let's send someone to approve. Basically, this is the essence of document capture. Once we have more time, we also show the advanced functionality of document capture. Now I have processed a very simple cost invoice, right? But we all know that life is not always that simple. So the other options, let's say most common scenarios that we see in the solution is that aligning with purchase order. So let's say your company does have a lot of, you does use a purchase order functionality of Business Central. Uh, if you receive an invoice that is in alignment with purchase order, you can really quickly check if this is a full match or have you received all the goods. Are you still waiting for something? Did you receive not only the goods that match the amount, but also the quantities that you have ordered? So with a very simple way, you have you can check whether the purchase order is what you have, whether the invoice is in alignment with what you have ordered. Also, their lines, regardless how many lines you have on the invoice, document capture will capture all of them. And we have tested the solution. We have customers who asked us, so please show us. Let's say I receive a bill from a telecommunication with 100 lines in the show. Ask how is it possible? It is possible. And for the ones who would like to have a deeper look at document capture, we can have a separate meeting either with a partner or all partners will also can invite our consultants. But it is a huge manual work saving for customers who are at the moment entering invoices manually. Now, we will come back to document capture later. At the moment, I would like to start sharing uh, slides again and introduce some other solutions that we have that are very much in alignment with document capture and with the vision of the company itself too. Let me go
And
back. Mhm.
if I may, before you continue, there is a question in the chat.
Of
I don't
course.
know whether you would like to address it now or afterwards.
Of
It
course, no, of
depends.
course, let's do
Okay.
that. Of course, let's do
Yeah.
that.
Um,
Yeah.
so Maybe shall I read it or shall you
Yes,
look
please
into
do
it
read it.
yourself? Okay, perfect. So Luke Samut is asking this question. So he's saying the biggest challenge for us is the fact that users approving purchase invoices require a Business Central license. This naturally gives them access to companies within the Business Central environment. The users approving these purchase invoices are non-finance colleagues who do not have the authority to see financial numbers or purchase invoices sent for approval to different users. Therefore, to limit their visibility on Business Central while allowing access to Continia, we have to do a lot of restrictions on the user's permissions. This has its challenges, including arising errors on Continia when there are updates which conflict with the set permissions, plus still a risk of the user managing to access certain information on Business Central. Is there some advice on how to work around this?
It's a very good question. Um, of course, maybe we would need a more deeper discussion on the specific scenarios, but how is Continia solving this? Yes, in many cases, and now we are going to check some other options. People approving the invoices are not Business Central or finance people, thus they do. Not everybody wants them to have access to Business Central. Therefore, at Continia end, we have more than one way to approve invoices. And at the moment, if only my demo site doesn't crack, I will show you. So one way is to approve invoices directly in Business Central. For those who have access, for those who are familiar with Business Central, this is one way. Another way to do that is by specially designed web portal. So in the web portal, this is the most common way that we see customers using. If I am a manager and I do not have access to Business Central, I would receive a notification to approve invoices where I am responsible in the web portal. In this way, I will not require to have a Business Central full license. I will still require to have a team license to do financial activities, but I would not get access to Business Central. And we will check how does it look like, but in reality, you can also picture the process. This is a web portal that you can access with your regular browser. So as long as you have internet, you can access, you can approve invoices, you can put on hold, you can reject, you can add your comments. And yes, you do not have to have access to full Business Central. I hope this does answer your question a little bit.
So he said that they use the web portal, but the user can still decide to log in on Business Central with a team license.
Oh, that he can access Business Central with the team license.
Yeah.
Okay, then let me then take this question down, because as far as
And
I knew
maybe we
that,
follow it
yes,
up
we
after
can
the.
follow it. I didn't know that they can access. This is why the companies are using. Okay, permissions.
Okay.
I am
Thank
asking. I am
yeah.
putting this question down, and then I will come back.
Thank you so much, Luke, for your input. And this is why these webinars are important, so that we
Of
can get
course,
this
this
kind
is
of
why
feedback.
we're
And
here to discuss. And I also learned something. So I have never heard that it would be
perfect.
might be a limitation. But let's see. I hope that there is a solution. I'm pretty sure that there must be, as security and permissions is one of the key things in any finance solution. So the next solution that I wanted you to present is expense management. So it's a complementary solution to document capture. And again, just like in the case of document capture, you see some quotes of happy customers using the solution. I do interview quite many customers using continuous solutions, and from what I hear, is they really, if I ask the question, would people miss the solution if it is gone today? Then definitely the answer is yes, definitely. With the expense management, this is also true. Once companies implement the solution, they learn how much more effective can they be with their operations. Now, while building so I already mentioned that typically it's finance people, right, that we have in mind. However, while developing expense management, we really try to look equally at all three roles. First, it's a user. For users, the ones who are traveling, getting receipts, paying their own money, or using company credit cards, usually it's a nightmare to submit those receipts later on to the finance department. So we wanted them to feel comfortable with the solution. We want them to have a solution that they could use as they go without any hassle. And then we have approvers. In terms of expense management, when someone is waiting for reimbursement, of course, it is critical for them to know when will I receive the reimbursement for the money I spent. We wanted the approvers not to be a bottleneck, so we really wanted them to be able to approve the invoices, the costs from anywhere in the world, as long as they have internet connection. And lastly, it is finance people. So for finance people, of course, just like I mentioned before, these are the people who have overloaded with tasks, with documents. They need to make sure that documents are not only do they come in time, but also they come without errors, so that they do not have to chase people and asking for supporting documents, asking to correct them, edit, and so on. So what is the idea of expense management? um, and how it is different with document capture. So with document capture, we have one address box where mailbox where all the invoices come through. With expense management, it's not only Business Central and web portal that we have, but also a mobile application that we developed for users. So imagine, well, you are traveling to UK. I don't know, have a business plan, a business customer there. You go to the restaurant, you invite your customer to the restaurant, you have a receipt. All you have to do is open up your mobile application, take a picture of your receipt. The OCR behind the screens will capture all the necessary information, such as the name of the company, currency, amount, VTs amounts. You as a user will only be required to tell, okay, what was that for? What was the goal of me spending those money, and swap it to the right, submit it to your finance department. The good thing also is here that users, regular users who are submitting receipts, they do not require to have Business Central license. If they're using app only, they only need to, the partner will only need to know their email address to connect to be able to submit the receipts. Then we have approvers, and just in case, just like it was in the case of document capture, uh, expense approvers will need to have access either directly to Business Central or the team license to approve expenses via web portal. And lastly, of course, finance people. These are the people who will be approving, will have all the information next to their site. Now, just like in the case of document capture, let's go back to Business Central and check. So how will that work? I will move the line. How do I go there? Okay. So here you see their emulator. Let me just refresh. This is how your mobile application would look like for any user. It's still uploading, so just bear with me.
While it's uploading, Inga, we have a short question. Maybe we
Why
can.
is it uploading?
While is it up? No. While it's uploading, we
Ah,
have a short question
okay.
if you would like. So the question is whether manual handwriting is also captured, because sometimes expiry dates and batches aren't printed on invoices received.
Technically, so technically, it's not supported. This is what typically we say, that officially it's not supported. Our team has tested many of them, and very often handwritten receipt will also work fine. But technically, the official position is that it's not supported. So now you see, where do I move this one? You see M later. The expense management, you can personalize it. In the beginning, you can put your company's logo and etc. It can be nicer, but the idea will still be the same. You are traveling, and let's say you had the expense. So you open up new expense. I have some the invoices submitted. I have taken pictures of some invoices already as an examples. So let's say I was at the food market. Does the receipt look okay? Yes, it looks okay. I select the receipt. The OCR captures the amount, captures the currency. It also adds the picture. It captures the date. I am required to tell, did I pay with my own cash or did I use a company credit card? Um, of course, the difference is that once I select the cash, I am expecting to get reimbursement for the cash I spent. If I select the company credit card, it will be a bit different. Company will not own me, but it still will be registered as an expense I had. Now, the question that I receive quite often, uh, so how do we handle company credit cards? The good thing is, and where's the huge removal of work for finance people, and there are different ways how can you set it up, but it might be, you might set it up that every time someone with a company credit card uses a company credit card, they would get a instant notification on their mobile app saying you have just used your company credit card. Please attach the receipt, submit the receipt to the finance department. So once again, no more chasing of people for finance department, and of course, less errors for them as OCR captures information really accurately. Then I need to specify the expense type. The logic here is that not all the people are finance people. They might not know the GL account numbers, codes, and etc. But most likely, they definitely can know whether that was accommodation, electricity, food, diesel, petrol, and etc. So in this case, that was food. I select food. I add the description, um, dinner with partners, and that's it. I submit it to the right. The expense is gone. Just for the case of demonstration, I will add one more example where I will pay for with a company credit card. So this time it's I think it's a hardware. So yes, the amount was captured 1,000, and this time it's dollars. Payment type, this time I will select that it was MasterCard, the expense that it was hardware, and maybe the description will be missing. Yes, the solution says no, you haven't done the proper job yet. Ah, how do I get to the description? I don't have the full the full screen. And please, expense show me how my mouse is not working to go to the end and show you fulfill the description. Okay. Let me try to maybe minimize. No, that will not help. So, yes, here it is. Computer. Computer, swap it to the right. That's it. It's gone. Now, what happens now? Let's go back to Business Central and where's this status? Let's synchronize. Let me find where's my synchronize. Here's the synchronize. New documents are coming, 2 or more expenses we received. you might be wondering, so with expense management, just like with document capture, you will see another area that is called Continia expense management activities. Here, I will be able to check all the expenses that has arrived. And even though we didn't talk about the other types, maybe it's good to mention. So you can submit expense claims, but you also can track your mileage. That's it. You choose a new mileage, you enter destination and the starting point. The solution will calculate how many kilometers did you drive and will calculate the amount for you. You also can do the per diems by entering, okay, I was visiting Czech Republic. I spent 4 days there. The per diems will be calculated. Or you can do even the reporting. Let's say we have customers who are using expense management for construction projects, for filming projects. So you might as well decide this is a project and I want to add all my expenses related to this project to this one single report. Then you throughout the month collect the expenses, you add it to the report and you submit it to the finance with a one go. As a user, of course, not only you are submitting, but also depending on company's preferences, you will be getting the report on how are your expenses doing and when will they be reimbursed. So what do I see here? You might see why, okay, why is this red flag there? And why is it so? Uh, we haven't assigned a card for the user. So someone used a company credit card, yet it wasn't assigned. So let's choose Lina and assign this to Lina Townsend. Okay, Lina, okay. Yes. And then it was MasterCard that we selected. So working on it. Okay. Now let's check and synchronize. All the red flags are gone, meaning now what has happened? Um, Expense management has realized that had got a transaction report from the bank saying someone has used the money. However, the card wasn't assigned to particular user, therefore the red flags was there. This is a one-time exercise. We assigned a company credit card to Lena, and from now on we have this responsible and it's gone. Now, so yeah, so how do we approve? And this is where, okay, let's now go to approval portal. The same portal will be used for document capture and for the expense management. I hope you can see the web portal already. It will look like very regular browser. You can see expenses, you can see mileage, you can see per diems, or you can see the report. So in this particular case, we submitted, I also did some tests. So you also see the LinkedIn invoice who came. You see the invoices. You can select the particular invoice. You can check it, and if everything looks good. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, Weston. You can check, and then you can approve them. Why do I not see approving? Okay, that's interesting. But you get the idea, right? So this is where you as a manager or the one responsible will be able to check all the expenses that came. They will land directly to Business Central or to expense management. The approving process will have different options. So as the one responsible, you will be able to approve, to reject, to put on hold, and maybe let's say you're missing some information or there's someone else responsible for this particular receipt, then you can forward this to your colleague, the one who has information. And now I see, and but that we don't have a lot of time left, but I really wanted to show the solution that is that is on the most on the very demand today. So let me go back. And Lucilla, do we have any questions as we go?
So far, we don't have any more questions, but please, I urge the audience to type any questions so that we can go through them as
Uh-huh.
we go along. So, if you have any questions, please do write it in the chat.
Yes. So the next solution that I wanted to show you was, let me just go back to the slide that I want. It's continuous sustainability. Yeah, you might be aware of these new regulations that are taking place in Europe today. And yes, based on those regulations, every company will need to calculate, not every company, eventually, every company at the moment is huge corporations, bigger companies. But we at Continia see or believe that even though not too many companies get into the list this year, quite a big list of companies will be affected by these new regulations, as these big corporations, big companies will start demanding their customers, their vendors, to provide their own emission spendings. Therefore, this question will be important to many of those. What is the essence and the idea? Yes, there are three scopes, and you will need to report your carbon emissions based on three scopes. Scope one is for emissions that companies can control: vehicles, fuel, fugitive energy. Then scope two are for the emissions that were produced in the facilities of the companies. So electricity, heating, steam, and etc. And then scope three for all the indirect emissions that didn't fall under scope two. And now, what's the tricky thing here? So imagine you are a company and you need to submit the report. You are obliged by the end of the year to submit your carbon emission report. And you received a bill for electricity. Which scope would you put this invoice to? Would that be scope one? Would that be scope two or scope three? And yes, if you recall what I have just shared, it is electricity. It is produced within the facility, so most likely it should go to scope two. However, you might also guess that this is a trivial question. It's not always so. Not in all these scenarios. There is leakage. There are some certain situations with electricity based on some scenarios, and not it might be that part of this, the major part, should be allocated to scope two. However, some small amount should be allocated to scope three. How can you know that? At the moment, the topic is so new and companies do not have the required knowledge and expertise to allocate all those invoices to the right scope. And that's where continuous sustainability, the solution that we have introduced last year, end of October, comes into place. With continuous sustainability, all you will need to do is fulfill very basic information. Let's say you received an invoice. There are new environmental accounts that you need to fulfill. I will show this. You need to post. Then the second step, you need to post those invoices to the so prepared environmental journals and post those journals. That's it. You are not required to have any environmental knowledge. The solution will guide you with the intense set of formulas behind the screen. It will allocate the missions to the right scopes so that you can be certain that you have a report that is in alignment with ESG reporting. Once again, let's go back to Business Central, and very quickly I will show you the essence of sustainability. In this case, let me go to, to save time, I already prepared some invoices. Purchasing. No. Okay, let me then, I did prepare, and for some reason after the refresh, they're gone. So let me do that again. So the vendor name, and let's hope my vendors are there. Yes. So let's say the same invoice for electricity. I select Aeon, which is company for electricity. So let's say I have received a bill from them. I am required to put uh, the invoice number. If you're using document capture, by all means, this information can be already prepared, and you can have it captured. And this is the beauty of solutions working together. Then I am okay. Let's select electricity for property. Let's okay, quantity one. Let's say the amount of euros was 700. And now, what is the essence? As soon as I select the right GL account, the system knows that it is related to facility. I am asked to provide what facility. So let's imagine that you might not have one office. You might have three, five, four. So let's say it was for my London office. Eh, electricity for London office. The solution says it's electricity. It takes the relevant emission factor set, which is electricity for UK. It says that it was energy, and now I am always asked to put, so how many kilowatts was there. So, okay, if you have document capture, again, this information can be captured. If you don't, you put it manually. But basically, this is it. You post the invoice and it's there. Okay, now, as for the second step, I will need to go. Let me find, where is that? Um, purchasing. Okay, for now, I think I don't see my full screen. Okay, now I go to the environmental journals, and I need to import the data, the new data that was posted. So as you might recall, I tested one. So you see that, and then I submitted another one. So we see that in the facility journal, there are two invoices that have arrived. I can check the amounts allocated for the facility already. I can see that this is, yes, it was electricity for property. It was assigned to scope. The primarily it was assigned to scope 2. I can also check the CO2 emissions calculated, and you will see two formulas. One is market-based, another is location-based. Based on the regulations, European regulations, you might use the better one for you. However, you need to calculate both, and I can check very quickly what's inside. Again, as you might notice, that primarily it was scope 2 that we assigned to. However, it was also a bunch of emissions that was allocated to scope 3. I can go deeper and see, okay, so what was that? What was my greenhouse gases? What was my fossil sources, nuclear sources, renewable sources, and so on? All this information will be here at your site, ready for you to check, and if everything is all right, ready for you to use. Now, if everything works fine, I will just post it. Working and post it. Lastly, uh, I would need to go to the sustainability report and check the report itself. The report is there. It's a default one. You can go inside and you will see that, yes, we only submitted two invoices for electricity. So not much to see here. But as you might notice, the report itself is based on the ESG regulations. Scope 1, direct emissions, scope 2, indirect emissions, location-based, market-based, and the scope 3. So the report is ready for you to submit to the governmental the authorities. This is the magic of the solution. As you might, of course, expect, the magic is not really there. It took more than 2 years for Continia to build the solution, and a lot of work is there already. But the point that I would like you to leave with is that the solution is ready. And if you need to report your carbon emissions, you can have this data and you can work with it and have the report ready within seconds with a solution that Continia built. I didn't plan to show and demo the last solution document output, but its essence is you spread out documents. You prepare reminders, invoices, and it will be sent out directly in Business Central in a personalized way, different languages, different settings. It will attach all open invoices for your customers, and you will be able to check statuses. Very simple solution, yet very powerful. So basically, with it, very quickly we covered the four main solutions of Continia. So Lucilla, what do you think? Do we have more questions? And can we open up the questions answer session?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. And that was really insightful. And I am sure that the audience has found it insightful as well. We do not have any questions on the chat. However, the Q&A session is open. So if we have any question or someone who would like to intervene, please do so. Now is the time. So feel free to raise your hand or write more questions in the chat, and we'll be here to answer.
Please let us know in the chat which solution do you think would be relevant for you. For the ones, it would be very interesting to see if what I have shared does make sense at your end. If something rang the bell saying yes, this is something that I would be benefiting from.
So we have some feedback. Eric Saliba is asking, does Continue offer anything for payments of invoices, such as selecting invoices for payments on BC, and somehow Continue prepares for payments or is integrated with bank and so on?
Oh, this is such a painful question for me. We do have Continia. Continia aims to become one of the leading companies in the finance sector, not only in those areas, but also in the payment areas. And we have many solutions. However, because we require a deep integration with banks, and every bank is a different story. Yeah, we take country by country, region by region, and not all the countries are supported. So let's say if your company is operating in Scandinavia, in Netherlands, in UK, Germany, DACH region, most likely yes, we would definitely have what to offer. If it is more from Central Eastern Europe, we are still on the list. Someday we will get there, but not in the short period. But I do get this question often, and it for me is so regretful to say that we cannot cover, as this is the market that I come from and I operate in.
Okay, so the follow-up question is that they are operating in Malta and whether they could have a list of banks that you operate with. Maybe even we can share it at
Yeah,
some point.
so it's as far as I know, even because we had cases in other countries, even if the bank operates in Malta, we need it's important where the mother company is and what or is, if it's only like the office, it might be that we cannot provide. So we need to check bank by bank. But usually it's like let's say we had these cases in the Baltics, in the Czech Republic. Even if you have Scandinavian bank operating in the country, usually they have like local entity, and then we do not support that. Meaning that we have to get there and to do all those steps. And these are not the easy steps. It does require a lot of time for us to land new banks. So we need to check case by case. But the generic answer is that we do not support the region, that we do not have. Um, it might be more an exception that we can do, but we can dig deeper. How about continuous sustainability? Are you guys ready for reporting? Is that a topic for you, or maybe it's too early, or maybe trends in the Europe says maybe I should hold back a little bit. What's your situation? Do you think this is something that you would be working in the end of the year? That's what we expect, that in the end, December comes and suddenly customers start raising their hands saying, oh my God.
I think it's a very topical area. So sooner or later, maybe it's already resonating with some of our clients. Maybe it's
Mhm.
still too early, but either way, it's good to plant the seed and know that there are options, an easy option to
Mm.
facilitate the process. So for sure, I'm sure that it's useful. So any feedback from our audience?
Yes. Did you find the session valuable for you?
Okay, so we have some feedback from Alexia. ESG is a topic for us. We need to figure out how we can start capturing our data. Unfortunately, though, a lot of information is not available from a simple purchase invoice.
A very good comment. So this is why we also continue sustainability support various ways. It is you can at the moment you can do that not only based on activity based. This is what I showed with the electricity, because with the in case of electricity, most likely kilowatts will be there. For logistics, kilometers maybe will be there. For hotels, nights will be there. However, a very good question and comment. Not all the information will be there on the invoice. So as a company, you can start with the amount spent based calculations. So you only take the amount spent, you specialize, you make the category, you will still get into the calculation. So the solution will still help you make those CO2 calculations. Maybe they will not be that precise. As you know, inflation is there, amounts change. What you had last year is not relevant to what you have this year. The activity based calculations are much more precise. Kilometers are kilometers. 2 years ago, today, or 2 years ahead of us. But the mix of calculations, so you can do either amount based only, activities based only, or a mix. Choose to do a mix. And our recommendation for the companies is to start in the easiest way, the easiest for them, will capture what they have today, and later on they might adapt and change. So thank you. Very good comment.
Thank you, Alexa, for your feedback. Any other questions, concerns, or comments which you would like to share with us? Also, just a reminder, this webinar will also be shared in case a colleague of yours couldn't make it and you would like to share it with them. And if you have also would like to inquire more or ask more questions, please do reach out. We are here to help. Um, uh, if there are no further questions or comments, maybe we can start wrapping up from your end as well, Inga, and we start closing off the session. What do you
Yes.
think?
So at my end, yes, I would invite you to come on journey with Continia and with Onpoint. We are here to support. Our aim is to see how can we help you better. How can we reduce this frustrating amount of manual work? So the overall vision of the company is to help you become better at what you are today. We don't intend to change anything dramatically. The processes will be the same, only they would be produced in a much more effective way by eliminating the tasks that no one likes to do. It's a repetitive tasks. So be it expense management scanning, incoming document scanning, approving, or making the reports, sending out documents. So we are not intending to change dramatically the processes that you are used to today. And the solutions are built in Business Central with the same aim, that if you know Business Central, it will be very easy to learn Continia solutions, as we are there. We do not require integration. The partner will download the solutions and will adapt to your company's needs. So I would be welcoming to join us on board and become much more effective than you are today. As in terms of competition, it is important, right, for everyone to be more effective.
Thank you so much, Inga,
Thank you,
and
Lucila, for inviting us.
it
It was
was
a
a
pleasure to
pleasure.
be.
Exactly. It's always nice working with you, and thank you for your support, ongoing support. I would like to thank all of those who joined us today as well, and to keep in touch for the coming webinars and also to reach out if need be. So, thank you all. I wish you all a good afternoon, and we'll keep in touch.